Hello everyone and welcome back to a new Xwebinar. Today we'll talk about one of the worst fears of most of us, malware. In particular, we'll focus on a young branch in this malevolent ecosystem, mobile malware. Let's clarify from the very beginning that malware is a very generic word. Summarizing Wikipedia definition, malware is any software intentionally designed to cause damage to a computer. Mobile malware is real. Following the trend of more and more services to go mobile, fraudsters are going in the same direction, as they are moving very fast from developing PCs malware to smartphone ones. In the last few years, we've been observing a rise in the number of Android-focused malware. This trend is less pronounced on iOS, where platform-dependent characteristics limit the potential of this kind of attack vectors. The samples observed into the wild vary quite a lot. Some of them replicate successful attack patterns developed on PCs, for example, rat or ransomware. In other cases, we see samples specifically designed for mobile platforms, SMS grabbers, overlays, to name a few. Some are focused on state-sponsored spying software, spyware. Some are more consumer-centric, stealing personal information, privacy-related, credentials or money from the user or service provider. Let's start with a better understanding of how a malware infection starts and acts inside the end-user device. From now, we'll try to describe a generic behavior of malware samples. Of course, everyone has its own particularities, but for the sake of simplicity, let me explain a typical flow. The infection usually starts by tricking the customer in installing a malicious software. Often, this step employs some phishing techniques and exploits the end-user trust. For example, it is pretty common to start the infection by accessing a download link sent through SMS from a friend or a family member. Some advanced attacks exploit operating system vulnerabilities or official stores reviewing blind spots. The user, having already trusted the link, proceeds installing a malicious app. Often, the malware software presents itself as a video game or some useful utility app. At this point, the operating system will ask for all sorts of permissions, but it's usually too late. The user will grant them all in most of the cases. The malware will run the first time, gaining persistence and starting executing its malevolent task. Most of the cases, the user will not notice any unusual behavior. The malware remains in the background, waiting for its target. As soon as the designated target is accessed by the end user, the malware moves to the foreground. Its malevolent task could be grabbing SMS coming from the specific senders, for example, bank OTP codes. Sometimes it overlays the legitimate app to steal CC numbers or user and password. The user is usually unaware of what is happening and typically does not perceive any abnormal behavior of the handset. The attacker retrieves the target information and conducts the final fraud. Often, the mobile handset is not even involved in the actual fraud, often executed relying on a different channel of access to the service. The malware spread to the contacts of the victim using the same methodology described in the step 1. Fraud successfully executed, producing monetary damage to the end user and the service provider, and eventually reputation damage on the service. At XTN, we think that protecting sensitive service from malware-conducted frauds is part of the security capabilities each enterprise should provide. Even if end user should be aware of best practices to prevent the introduction of malware apps in their smartphones, this is not always enough to protect them. We cannot require every user of a mobile service to be a security expert. Any enterprise providing mobile services should offer a secure environment to their end users. Active monitoring of the contexts where sensitive apps operate should be enforced to prevent evil activities in the device. That's why we designed our cognitive security platform to extend in malware detection.